I paid off £70,000 of debt in 4 years, and I want to show you how I did it. So, at 36 years old, I was fed up of, at the end of the month, never having any money. We was constantly in the overdraft. I was earning decent money, and there was just never any money in the account at the end of the month, and it was just really, really frustrating. So I decided that I needed to make a change. So my first change was that I needed to create a budget, and I'm now going to show you a budget that's changed a little bit over time, but this is the budget that I currently use, manage my money. It's what's called a zero budget. I'm just going to bring it on the screen now. So here's the zero budget. I've just used some sort of figures that they're not my figures, but I just wanted to run through it. So on this spreadsheet I've created, you can enter the income here. So I've got 2,500 here, 1,000 here, and then there's a formula in here that automatically adds that up. So then there's the mortgage or rent, and I've just set that at £800 for example on this one. Food, £500. Water bill, roughly £50. TV, so I've included like a basic Sky TV package in there, £50. Gas and electric, currently probably around £220 for an average household. Fuel, transportation, life insurance, mobile phones, and just list everything you've got, and then any debts you may have as well, and car finances. So when the bill goes out of the account, I found it messy to have the actual figure in the account, the actual figure on the budget. So what I did, because most of these costs will generally be fixed, I would mark them with this just to say that it's gone out of the bank account. I wouldn't do that with the food, because a bit further down I've got a food itemised here, so that's how you can track your food spending. I personally would recommend for your food is that you set up a separate bank account and put your food budget into that separate bank account, because that will help with tracking your spending on your food. But you've also got to be realistic with your food budget as well. Food is a big expense, and so what I would do if you're making your first budget is to maybe look through your last 3 months bank accounts, add up every single thing you spent on food, then divide it by 3 to give yourself an average, which will help you sort of have a starting point for your food. But as I say, everything else is generally fixed. So when they go out of the account, I would just mark them off. So I've known how much has gone out. And then you could say if these ones have gone out, you could then highlight these and understand how much, see down the bottom here, 1625 is how much you should have left in those accounts. So again, I've got everything here. And then at the bottom, it adds it up automatically. There's a formula put in there to add it up. And so then there's £555 left. Now I'm just going to go down to the debt to talk about the debt first, and then we'll come back up here. So as I said, we've got food, so you can enter all your food in here, and fuel and transportation you can enter in here, and this will add it up, and this will tell you exactly how much you spent on food that month, and fuel, that'll tell you exactly how much you spent on fuel. So we're just going to move on to the debt now. So there's 2 methods, as I've mentioned in a previous video, for paying off debt. There's the debt snowball, or there is the debt avalanche. So here you can enter. I've already entered figures in here, and as I say, they're just figures that I've made up for an example for this video. And as you can see, the total debt is for 43,800. So now, if you were going to use the debt snowball method, where you pay off the smallest first, you would you can select here on the sort filter thing, sort smallest to largest. So you can see that loan 3 needs to be paid off first, then credit card 3, then credit card 1, loan 2. So that will give you a good idea. So then when we go back up to the budget, so we could say loan 3, we know we need to pay 200 off that, and that will be paid off, and that would be done. So we're going to pay off 200 in this month's budget, and then credit card 3 has 400. So we've got 355 left. So it's only for example, you could name them the companies of what your credit cards are, so then it makes it probably a little bit easier to track. So the first one we were paying off was loan 3, so it looks like I might have put that in the so £200 on loan 3, and then credit card 3 is £400. So actually we haven't even got a minimum payment into there, so we'd just put 355 into there. So for some reason the formula wasn't adding up, so I'm just going to quickly so now your budget adds up to 0. So now you would see that you would have £45 left on credit card 3, and then So these are, so I've also put the loan, so you know how much you had at the start. So you could, so once you've paid off that one, you could just put 0 in there, and then this one we're paying 300, so you put 45 in there, and so now it will tell you how much you've got left of debt. This was how much at the start, and here I've written, so you would have paid off £555 of debt so far. So that's how I tracked mine. I'm just going to adjust it again, just so that I can show you the Avalanche now. So here, so if you're going to use the Avalanche method, that was where you would pay off the highest interest first. So we can now sort largest, not there. Yeah, so on largest to smallest. So now you do largest to smallest. Yeah, it has adjusted them. So now you can see that, you know, so again, these are made up figures, but so your credit card free was at 34%, so you would pay that one off first, and then you'd start on the arduous task of paying off credit card 2, which is £12,000 at 28%. So this is a good way that this budget tracker can sort of help you identify which debts you need to pay first. And it just makes it easy, and so that if you wanted to use a hybrid method where maybe you paid off 2 or 3 small ones first using the snowball, and then you could move on to the interest rate. You know, once, because I've got it in like a 12-month thing, I'm just going to make these normal because I'm going to show you now. So once you've got these, you could just like, because most of these costs will be fixed, you can actually drag them out, copy and paste them, and it gives you a month's worth of budget. We'll do it the same with the top if your income is sort of roughly the same each month, and it will give you, it can start to give you, I hope I did that right, it will start to give you an overview of the year of how it looks. So then, yeah, so it'll give you an overview. So we, you know, on the snowball method, we were going to pay off, let me go smallest to largest again, we're going to pay off that one, and we're going to have 55 quid left on that one. So now what I would do personally for loan 3, you can now clear that because you're not going to be paying that one. And the next one is credit card 3, which is only going to have £55 left. We'll say that's 50, actually it was £45 left, wasn't it? £45 left, that's it. So then you can clear that one. And then you can start to see now that we've got extra money each month to pay off the next debt. So the next one would be credit card 1, which was £1,000, but we paid £100 off it last month, so let's make it 900. That's it. And then we're going to pay all the extra on this credit card 1, so 610. And you know, I wanted to, you know, this budget can be fluid as well. So let's say that your food category, you went slightly over one month to say 600. You know, you could try and take that money from somewhere else in the budget, like your entertainment takeaway. You could make that down to 200, and you know, the budget is fluid. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be rigid. I'd also recommend that you have like an emergency fund. I had mine at £1,000. By having that emergency fund, that will prevent you going further into debt. So then you can use that emergency fund to pay off whatever it is, and then just make sure in your next month's budget that you put that money back into your emergency fund. Your emergency fund should be a high interest savings account, but it has easy access. You should be able to access it instantly. You don't want something, an account where your money's tied up, where you have to give notice on withdrawing your money. It must be an account where you can just pick up the money that day, or just transfer it between the accounts if that emergency occurs. So as I said at the start of the video, this process of doing this budget, it took 4 years to pay off £70,000. So once you had paid off that £70,000, or whatever your debt is, once you've paid that off, you then look to build an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months, and then once you've done that, you would then start to look into some sort of investments, maybe starting a business. That's just a rundown of the budget that I used, that I created. I say it's very, very simple. If you'd like a copy of that budget, I've left a link down below of the video so that you could download this budget and use it yourself. As I say, it's very, very simple. The formulas work out themselves. One thing I did forget to mention as well is that this section here, I'm sorry, I'm just going to put it back on the screen. This section here is where I put the big contracts due, because a lot of, you know, managing your budget as well is managing your bills. Like, so when your mobile phone contract's up, so if you're heavily in debt, you want to be going on to a cheap SIM only deal, you know, until that debt is cleared. If your contract was due in May, I would put a note in here, Vodafone contract due. So that it's a reminder when you get to May that you should be looking at your phone contract and looking for the cheapest deal possible. It's the same with with your internet provider. So, you know, if your internet's due in July, just put internet in here, and then that you need to look for a better deal on your internet to make sure that you're not going to roll onto a contract that's costing you more money than it should. Like, say your house insurance is due in September, so it's just a reminder that you need to look at your house insurance and try and get yourself the best deal, probably using a comparison site, but obviously what's best for you. If you like the look of this and this was an easy way for you to use a zero budget, I'm going to leave a link in the description below where you can download this budget planner. Also, I have a Facebook group. If you wanted to join the Facebook group, the links are in the description down below. If you've made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions, please leave a question down below, and subscribe to the channel for more content.